So my first commercial was a Lucky Charms commercial.
No way.
It's on YouTube. Like, the commercial is on YouTube. So it was basically if you sent in enough, like, box tops or whatever, you'd get.
Box tops. You guys remember box tops?
Yeah, you get a box tops, and you'd get like different Tiger electronics, like Brain Warp or like a Gigapet or something.
Oh, dope.
So like that was.
So what were you doing in the commercial?
I was dancing around like an idiot in a white infinity wall.
At least they didn't play with the Irish stereotype.
Yeah, right.
Call you Little Lucky.
Yeah, no, not at all. Fortunately, I am Liam Stryker, and this is my golden hour.
Water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the 4 deer nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the fire deer attacked. Only Derek, master of all 4 elements, could stop those boys. But when Boston needed him most, he vanished into the enchanted Golden Deer Forest.
Season 4.
What does that clap signify?
Oh, are we doing a slate?
No.
Okay.
But the clap does signify, I use the clap, and you're also the production wizard.
Yeah.
The clap signifies the ability to sync the audio in the video.
slate.
Oh, that's a slate? I thought a slate was when you look at the camera like this. You slate towards the camera.
Yeah, it's a clapboard.
But when you slate to a camera as an actor, don't you also go like this?
So slating as an actor is like name, union affiliation, and agent or representation.
Are you unionized?
I am.
I could see you being.
I am. I've been a member of SAG-AFTRA since 1996.
Favorite production that you were in?
My favorite one was Surrogates, starring Bruce Willis.
Are we familiar with the film?
It's garbage. All the movies I'm in are garbage. Right?
Well, let me guess. You play like lumberjack number 3?
No, I play a military officer.
Whoa.
It was the
Attention.
Like, look, my part ended up getting cut out because that's the story of my life. But I played a military officer. I went and I did a bunch of training with like weapons because I had to fire an M16. I had to fire an M16. I had to jump out of a helicopter because in the movie I kill Ving Rhames.
Where was this filmed?
This was filmed like all over Massachusetts. It was filmed at the same time Shutter Island was filmed.
Oh, so you got a major league part though.
Oh yeah, like.
And then they cut you?
And I end up getting like cut out.
Oh man.
But man, that one of those days it was, I want to say like 18 hours.
Oh.
And so it was a long day, especially because I'm in head to toe like combat
regalia.
Gear. I'm in combat gear, so it's like, it's got to look good. So yeah, of course I'm in a flak jacket, and the flak jacket's heavy as hell.
And you're ripped up.
Yeah,
just a beast.
Oh yeah, of course. And yeah, jumped out of a helicopter, shot an M16. There was like a whole like fight sequence, action sequence. So it was bananas.
Who is Ving Rhames?
Ving Rhames is he is the large black actor that isn't Michael Clark Duncan. He was in Mission Impossible.
Who that is.
He was in Mission Impossible. Yes, I want to say he was in Longest Yard.
Michael Clark Duncan is the Green Mile.
Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan is the Green Mile.
But you're forgetting that there's another large, muscular black actor,
Terry Crews. Yes. Yeah. I saw something because everybody's freaking out right now because Disney in the live action version of The Little Mermaid has casted an African-American actress to play the Little Mermaid. So everybody's freaking out because the internet is awful and people are terrible in 2019. But one of the funniest things I saw that I didn't know I wanted was they're like, yeah, wait till you see the remake of He-Man, and it's Terry Crews as He-Man.
Of course.
And I was like, I am so in on that. I have the power.
He's expressed a couple of times that he doesn't like being typecasted, but I think he plays his type so well.
Oh, yeah, well, it's, you understand that, where it's like, hey, man, like, I can do more than be the funny guy that falls down.
And pop my pecs.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's tough.
Huge.
He is huge. He's so smart too. Like
He's very clever.
I was listening to an interview. I think it was Hot Ones on YouTube, and he was talking about how he's like, yeah, I really gotten into like building computers. And it's just yeah, I didn't expect Terry Crews to be about building computers.
He's very quick-witted, and I don't know. It seems like he's got his life together, man.
Yeah, right.
So let me give you a proper introduction. This is the first podcast that we have run in like 2 weeks because we compiled a bunch before the event.
Right.
And so I'm coming back off relax mode. I feel like I got to get back into mania mode, back a little more psycho. You know,
right.
I feel like you know what I mean, right?
Oh, yeah.
You live like a quadruple life. So.
Oh, yeah. Depends on who I am today.
Exactly. I don't know who I am. I don't even know who I am ever.
Oh, yeah. It's a weird existence.
Absolutely. But we're coming off the Mass Cast, man. For those of you who weren't there, it was an incredible time. I'm very grateful for everybody who came out. We're bleeding out of our eyes to get it done. Shouts out to Frankie Films for making it look very aesthetic, and the production on the day of was smooth. And then also shout out to Liam Stryker.
Yeah.
Of the New Age Insiders for showing up and dominating the floor.
Oh, of course. Well, that's our MO, right? As the New Age Insiders, we roll into places and we make our presence known.
Good.
That's what ended up happening. That's how the current incarnation of the three of us, the New Age Insiders, New Age Insiders Entertainment is myself, another gentleman, Jason Maltov, and Bill Neville. Shouts
out to Bill and Jason.
Yeah, those are that's the show, the Kayfabe, if you will. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that term.
I'm not. Sounds quite intellectual.
So Kayfabe is basically the fictional world that pro wrestling lives in.
Kayfabe?
Right? Yeah, that's what they call it. So, like, basically back in the 80s when people thought that it was real, you know, like Hulk Hogan was always Hulk Hogan. He was never Terry Bollea, right? And so basically that's kind of...
Oh, okay.
So
when people thought wrestling was actually real.
Right?
Or but how is that possible? Because you would see them miss punches.
Right. Well, people were stupid. So
people are still stupid.
Yeah, so basically those are the three of us as the continuity of the show exists. New Age Insiders Entertainment, which is a podcasting and entertainment company that I own, is actually run by myself.
LLC'd?
It's LLC'd, yeah. Eddie McCabe, and then Chris Magoo.
Your real name's Eddie McCabe?
Yes, it is.
I'll just ruin my day.
I know,
man.
I know. The funniest thing is I always say we got to have the Santa Claus talk. Because we'll bring people on.
So I didn't know that. So you portray
Yeah, well, it's a very interesting story. I use a fake name on the show because 5 years ago, because we had just celebrated 5 years 2 weeks ago.
Congrats, that's fire.
Yeah, 262 consecutive weeks. We've never missed a week. No misses. And now that's not the total number of shows because we do special shows, we do pay-per-view shows, live shows, all sorts of nonsense. But that's the weekly show. But when we started, it was me and Chris, who is my co-host, goes by Jason Maltov. I was in the process of interviewing to be a writer for WWE. And
word. Okay.
So the last thing I wanted to do was have WWE Google, because like we had just talked about, I'm a SAG-AFTRA actor, right? I'm very Googleable. And so if you were to Google me and I'm interviewing to be a writer and the first thing that pops up is this podcast that has 2 episodes and it's me being like, these writers have no idea what they're talking about. Vince is out of touch.
Oh, you're wicked critical.
And
yeah.
So because that's what if you're trying to do anything, you got to be, you're analyzing anything, you got to be critical. And so yeah, I made the decision. I'm like, so much so that I like met with the head of creative at the time, like when like the week before or the week after we started the show. And so I ultimately didn't get the job. And so
you were pissed.
So I was pissed because now I'm kind of like stuck with this name. Because we didn't, like, I say this to Chris every single time that we kind of hit a major milestone, right? We've been on WEEI. We're really close friends with the guys at 98.5, the Sports Hub Sergeant, Jay Stu, you know.
You've had major WWE wrestlers on your show.
We have we've had the current WWE champion on, you know. So we're really plugged in, and we're really, really big. And so every single time I look at them, I say the same thing. I look at them and I go, not bad for a couple of guys that just wanted 100 people they didn't know to follow them on Twitter. You know?
And now you're at a couple thousand.
We're at 15. We're at like 15.
Talk your shit, man.
We're at like 15,000 on Twitter, 25 on Facebook. You know, like we're really lacking on Instagram.
You guys got to put out more content.
We gotta, it's always tough because, you know, every single time that we kind of like build something up, we have to take it one thing at a time, right? You know, because if you spread out through so many different things, nothing gets built up because you're spread out so thin. So we focused on Twitch, right? And that's kind of, we decided instead of going to Instagram right away, you know, going to Twitch. But I saw something that just shows how crazy popular Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook are in terms of active users. So having that be a priority.
The demographic of your audience, where are they mostly sitting?
So they're mostly sitting on Twitter. Twitter, YouTube, those are kind of the bread and butter for the pro wrestling community, you know, just because.
What is it the average? I think when most people envision a wrestling fan, they either picture a 13-year-old boy with a backwards cap.
Yep.
Or a 52-year-old man with a pot belly.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Am I spot on?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Why do you say that so depressively?
Because there are, like, we've done a great job of fostering a community of, like, quote-unquote normal people. Right? You know, you have people that enjoy this as anybody would, you know, any other show. People, you know, there are, you know, there's the stereotypical fan of the people that love Jersey Shore, right?
I am one of them, although I'm not stereotypical.
Right. So
did you enjoy Jersey Shore?
I don't watch Jersey Shore. But
it's classic.
But, you know, you have those, like, you know, those teenage girls and those bros, right, that are like super into
the
Jersey
Guidos.
Shore. Right. But then, you know, there's like a bunch of people that don't fit into those two groups that are, you know, your average television viewing audience that kind of fits into that. So we've done a great job of fostering a community of like finding those type of people where it's like, yeah, every now and then we have like fringe crazy people that come in that's
I love you, John Cena.
Yeah, that like still thinks it's real, you know, and it's very, very interesting.
There's no
to
way.
Those people.
Does anybody still think that Jeff Hardy is sending off the 40 feet? People thought that was a real impact.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing.
And if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, I don't know the exact match, but Jeff Hardy climbed up like the production apparatus at a live, was it Raw or just SmackDown at the time?
I think it was Raw.
Who was my favorite wrestler at the time, and he had a move called the Swanton Bomb.
Yeah.
And he legitimately ascended 40 feet onto his opponent, which in the real world, like the physical world, would kill both individuals.
Yes.
But they both walked away fine.
Yeah. Well, working actually with wrestling promotions, I spent a long time as the like executive producer of the television programming for Chaotic Wrestling, which is a Woburn-based wrestling company.
You must have seen crazy stuff.
Right. And here's the thing. People hear pro wrestling and they hear fake, or they assume fake, and they think that none of it hurts. And what they don't realize is that, like, yeah, the number might not have been 40 feet, but that man still jumped off of that thing onto that other man. And no amount of fake is going to stop that from sucking.
Yeah, like he had to fall the 40 feet.
Right. He had, like, yeah, maybe it was actually 25 feet. But that still sucks.
It still looked like it hurt.
You know, the biggest misconception about a wrestling ring is that people think that it's a trampoline. And it's like, no, it's a metal box, and there are wood planks, and then a thin, like high school wrestling mat. Like, have you ever seen a high school?
That's it? I thought it was like heavily padded.
No, not at all. Not at all. It sucks getting thrown on that. The rope is it's either actually real rope or it's cabling. And so when you run against those ropes, it's not elastic. Like, you have to actually throw your body against it. You know, I did training out at the Santino Brothers School of Pro Wrestling in Los Angeles when I lived out there.
So you wanted to wrestle at a certain point?
You know, it was...
Don't lie to me.
Yeah, like, yes and no. It's one of those type of things where I always believe that if you're going to criticize something or if you're going to have an opinion on something, you have to have an educated opinion.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to sit there and say,
talk mad shit.
Hey, this is going to suck, you know, I want to eliminate the excuse of like, well, you've never done X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And it's like, look, do I have the experience of a 20-year vet? No, I haven't. But
I understand
but
the
it's
process.
like, yeah, man, I understand how sucky it is to run those ropes and get bruises all along your rib cage because you have to really throw yourself into that.
Or to get stapled to your forehead.
Yeah, well, I haven't done that. Well,
we should try it after the episode.
Yeah, we'll do that after. Yeah, but it's so much harder, and it sucks because that's a misconception. Is like, oh, you know it's fake, right? And it's like, yeah, you watch Game of Thrones, you know that's fake, right?
No, it's not.
You know dragons don't really exist, right?
Sorry to interrupt, but can you just give a quick synopsis of who you are for anybody listening?
Yeah, sure. My name is Eddie McCabe. I am one of the co-owners of New Age Insiders Entertainment. On the show, I go by Liam Stryker. The New Age Insider is the premier place for fans of all kinds to connect, discuss, and to be heard. You can follow us everywhere on New Age Insiders at newageinsiders.com on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The show is found on twitch.tv/New Age Insiders TV every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. And you can find all of our
on a roll.
You can find all of our information at newageinsiders.com. I am also the host of That Movie Show.
Sponsored by Showcase
Sponsored by
Cinemas.
Showcase Cinemas. I'm contractually obligated to say, sign up for Showcase Subscribe, where you can watch 3 movies a month for $15.99.
Sounds like a ripoff.
No, it's fantastic. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
Actually, I got to be honest, that's an incredible deal.
They're 3 movies a month for $15.
That's not bad at all.
You actually buy a ticket, you spend more than that.
These are movies in theaters?
Movies in theaters.
That is a steal. Showcase Cinemas. Shouts out to you guys. That's some free promo.
Yeah, we're trying to do their bring back program. So we got 2 different episodes. One is the half-hour version, which is on North Shore 104.9 every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, so you can listen to that. And that's a half hour of, like, movie news and rumors and stuff like that. And then we have an hour-long, like, deep dive into movies where we just, like, have...
Film analysis.
Yeah, like a film analysis. And so what we want to do is we want to get to... Showcase has like a bring back program. So like I want to say it was either last week or this week. I don't know. So very, very recently, Forrest Gump's 25th anniversary happened. So for one night only, they brought it back into theaters.
Who was it that Frank, was it you that said Forrest Gump was your favorite movie? Someone told me Forrest Gump was your favorite movie. I was like, who was it? And I was like, yo, could you pick a more stereotypical favorite movie?
Yeah.
What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is Singing in the Rain. It is a musical starring Debbie Reynolds, who is Carrie Fisher's mom.
I mean, you're familiar? Singing in the Rain?
Yeah, it is basically, I'm such a film nerd that it's so, like, one, I love big budget, like, classic Hollywood musicals. And I just...
What'd you think of Les Mis, even though it's not classical?
I didn't like it. Just like my...
What have I done? Jesus, what have I done?
My issue with Les Mis was that they focused so much on the fact that they were like, we're live singing, that they locked off the camera and they just let people like sing while the camera was locked off. And it's like, well, this isn't really a dynamic singing performance. I would have rathered you had just recorded it and used it as a backing track than actually live sang on film.
Have you seen Hugh Jackman's his interview about it?
No.
He said, my dad is my rock. You've never seen that?
No.
It's like, my dad told me everything about dependability, nobility, reliability, accountability, visibility, we're like, all right, dude, relax.
Yeah, we get it. We get it.
He is the best, bro.
Yeah. I like Hugh Jackman. I thought he was really good in the movie, but I did not.
Do you like the Wolverine series?
I liked Old Man Logan. The actual comic book of Old Man Logan is one of my favorite comic series of all time. Because it was so interesting and so fun. Obviously, the movie was very, very different, just because they didn't have all the other characters that they could play with.
Was that the one where Professor X was in the silo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so in the comic version, Hawkeye shows up and he's blind. And Logan works as he's basically like a dirt farmer in the Midwest, and like the Hulk's kids are really just like kind of messing with him. And basically the setup is that all of the Marvel villains had teamed up and they had taken over the world basically. And so they divided up the country into different parts. And so Wolverine had given up fighting, and you ultimately end up finding out why. And it's similar to what happened in Logan, kind of. Old Man Logan, the movie. But Hawkeye is like, hey, I need you to help me bring something to Washington, D.C. And basically he's going to start a revolution because he has Captain America's shield. But Hawkeye's blind at this point, and so he needs Logan to drive the car. And you find out that like the reason why is because Mysterio, the current villain of Spider-Man Far From Home.
I have not seen it. Have you guys seen the Spider-Man movie?
Oh, it's great.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you want to come up and say hi? Abu? See, Abu will get his shouts. So listen, Frankie Films has been producing. Frankie Films is leaving for China very soon. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we just get 2 producers on the show, man? Why don't we just create a dope team of really smart kids? And Abu is coming on. I am pumped, man, because Abu's a genius.
Yeah.
And Frankie Films is a genius. And I'm just the stupid one.
Where in China are you going? Okay, cool. I fucking loved Shanghai.
You been there?
Yeah, I got to go and work. One of my clients, they work with Harvard Business School, and so they.
Whoa!
So
know who went to Harvard Business School?
Oh,
my sister.
Oh wow,
Want to know who's living in the shadow?
You.
Me.
Yeah. I did. The only time I get to do stuff at Harvard Business School is when they sneak me in the back door. But
whoa.
Yeah. But yeah, so we ended up going out to Shanghai, and I got to film out there. Shanghai is dope. That place is fucking dope. I love it. And then we went up to Beijing, and we got to see the Great Wall of China. So that was something I never thought I'd be able to see.
Pretty dope.
So that was really cool. Saw the Forbidden City and all that fun stuff.
I got to be honest. Usually most episodes we do like a deep dive interview.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have done an eclectic mix of things in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you feel like you have too many interests ever?
Yeah. I feel like sometimes the problem is that I get a little bit of shotgun spread.
Elaborate. Like you spread too thin?
Yeah, just so basically I do the podcast. I run a production company, and then I also like
work
and have I like to play flag football. You know what I mean?
What position?
I play like a wide receiver.
What type of league is this?
So I play out in we play out in SBS, Social Boston Sports.
Those are huge. I've been seeing T-shirts everywhere.
Yeah, so they run a bunch of different leagues. They have basically anything and everything you want. Basketball, flag football, dodgeball, cornhole. Like there's all sorts of stuff, and it's good. Over the summer there's a couple of different sessions. So
in that heat, in that hot Boston summer heat.
We play at MIT. It's fun. We got the team made the playoffs, so we have playoffs on Sunday the 17th, I believe, or the 14th. I don't know, but next Sunday, whatever next Sunday is. And so it's we got a pretty good thing. We got a pretty good shot at the championship, so pretty excited. Pretty excited, man.
Okay, so back to you feeling spread thin.
Oh yeah, so but yeah, so I do that, and so like even within the podcast end of stuff, it's moving the brand forward as a whole, right? Kind of taking that macro approach, seeing what is going on there, actually keeping up with the product to be a host of the show, developing new content as well as curating other content from our affiliates. Then on the production company end of stuff, I have 3 main clients that I work with.
So what Liam, aka Eddie, is elaborating on is he frequently goes out and is independently contracted to produce for shows.
Yeah.
Local to New England mostly,
Yeah,
right?
so I do, basically because they don't care. I work with a comedy club in Boston, Improv Asylum. Right?
Dope. Love it there.
That's probably one of my biggest clients. They're great. I've worked with them for years. When I was in college, I started out as like an unpaid
Where'd you go to
intern.
school?
I went to the New England Institute of Art, which isn't a school anymore.
Nice.
So shout out to good
Shout out
old
to
AI.
any art, man.
Yeah. I started out as an unpaid intern. Basically, in their live stage shows, they have a theater down in the North End, right on Hanover
I've
Street.
been there, yeah, it's great.
And it's fantastic. At one point, they'll pull somebody out of the audience and they'll interview them, and then they'll basically do a day in the life of them.
Eddie McCabe.
Yeah, so of whatever. So my job was, as the unpaid intern, there was a person that was in charge of filming the whole thing, and then they could purchase it on DVD. So I was in charge of...
Was this in 1920?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. See, we had media, and it was on discs, you see.
Literally.
And you would stick it into a box that was under your TV. It wasn't even attached yet.
DVD.
Yeah, we had to use 3 cables, not one like the HDMI cords you're used to today. The one was red, one was yellow, and one was white. Yeah, so that's what I started. That's what I started with, and then from there ended up like working as an usher.
Worked your way up.
And worked my way up, and I was the tech director there for a long time.
Doing the lights
And pre-recorded sound and everything. And so then I'd always had an interest in video. Like I helped work on their TV show that was nominated for like a regional Emmy and stuff like that. So worked really, really hard, worked with great people. And yeah, so now I travel with them. They got hired to work with like Harvard Business School. That's a major client of theirs. And so
for what, like corporate icebreakers?
For corporate
and stuff?
training. So they have a whole program because the principle, basically the concept is that the principles of improvisational comedy will help you
Absolutely.
in team building. And I always say that it's the greatest skill I never knew I was going to need, because it helps you in so many situations like the mass cast that we had just done, where it's like, yeah, man, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no idea what I'm going to say, but we're just going to go for it. And it breaks down that barrier.
Adaptability.
Right.
Yeah.
Adaptability and versatility. Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, yeah, I work with them, and, I got to go to Dubai. We got to go to Dubai and shoot in Dubai. I got to go to the Sheikh Zayed Mosque, which is the largest mosque outside of Mecca.
Oh, my God.
And that place is beautiful. Got to go swim in the Arabian Sea,
Whoa.
and so it's like, I get to do a lot of really, really cool things.
So, growing up, were you always like, I want to work to a point where I'm at least semi-entrepreneurial?
Maybe not necessarily. I mean, the vision has kind of always changed as you kind of get older. I knew I always wanted to work in entertainment. That was always a must, because as the legend goes, I was watching Power Rangers because that was a new show at the time.
Which Power Rangers?
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Was this the one where they would like, what's his name? What's the dude's face?
Zordon.
Zordon.
Yeah.
Big face like Zordon.
Yeah. We're talking season 1.
Okay, so I'm familiar. So this
Yeah.
is like, I want to say 2001.
No, this is like 92.
My fault.
This is like
Bad estimation.
Yeah, this is like 92, 94. And so I'm a young kid, and I'm like, hey, Mom, I want to do that. Like, I know that this...
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Newton.
Newton North or South?
North.
So crazy enough, for those also listening, Newton North is a hotbed for people interested in entertainment.
Yes.
So Liam, a.k.a. Eddie, is a major podcast host, the biggest podcast host in this country.
Yeah.
Also attended Newton North.
Oh, yeah?
Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Do you go north or south?
I think he went to South.
I am an idiot.
So
Novak.
Matt LeBlanc,
a.k.a. Joey on Friends.
Joey on Friends. I grew up around the corner from his parents.
Did you rob his house ever?
No, I did not.
You ever peep through his windows?
No, I did not, because that's weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
Yeah,
That'd be weird.
Louis C.K., he went to high school with my dad. So
I thought you were gonna say it was your brother.
yeah, no, I know that'd be a weird twist, huh?
That'd be a huge curveball.
Yeah, all of a sudden, just sitting here and didn't lead with that. But yeah, so I grew up there.
That's Frank's favorite comedian.
Oh, Louis C.K. He's a pretty good guy. I mean, minus the masturbating in front of women thing, but hey, we don't talk about that.
A lot of entertainers go through it.
Yeah, they all go through something. Don't just own it all. Just own it all. That's what you got to do.
Internet's transparent, man.
Yeah, and so I was talking to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I can do that. And she's like, you're a child. You're obviously saying that you can be a Power Ranger. And I'm like, no, Mom, I know that that's not real. Like, I know that they're playing pretend or whatever, and I want to do that. And so she was like, okay, when you learn how to read, because there's a lot of reading involved, thinking that it was just going to be something that I'm going to say. I know, reading. Ugh. When she's like, you learn how to read, I'll figure out how to do it. So basically, now growing up, it's my mom was just kicking that can down the road, being like, hopefully this kid will just forget and I won't have to actually figure this out.
Hopefully my son turns out half normal.
Yeah.
Because he's showing some early signs of having some issues.
Yeah, right. So sure enough, get a little older, got a whole grasp on the whole reading thing, and so I'm like, all right, Mom, you said you'd help. Let's figure it out. So she ended up hooking me up with a talent agency in Boston.
Boston Casting?
No, Cameo at the time.
Wasn't there something called John Robert Morris? Do you know what I'm talking about? John Robert Powers?
Something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. And so we ended up finding Cameo Kids at the time. I think it's now Cameo Talent Agency because I'm pretty sure they expanded into adults as well. But at the time, it was just kids.
Sounds perverted.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's acting for you. You're whoring out kids.
I can see you being a good child actor.
So my first commercial was a Lucky Charms commercial.
No way.
It's on YouTube. The commercial is on YouTube. So it was basically if you sent in enough box tops or whatever, you'd get
box tops. You guys remember box tops?
Yeah, you get a box tops and you'd get different Tiger electronics like Brain Warp or a Gigapet or something.
Oh, dope.
So that was.
So what were you doing in the commercial?
I was dancing around like an idiot in a white infinity wall.
At least they didn't play you with the Irish stereotype.
Yeah, right.
Call you Little Lucky.
Yeah, no, not at all, fortunately. But yeah, that was my first commercial, and then I did a bunch of acting out there and stuff like that. And so when it became time to kind of decide to go to college, my idea was I would like to learn the production end of things, right? And so, if you go to school, you can go to school for acting. You don't need to necessarily go to college for it. And
this is a couple of years though. No one goes to school for acting anymore, really.
Right. Well, and it was kind of the same concept where it's I can go to an improv asylum, right? Improv asylum has classes, and it's going to be far cheaper to go there.
Then go to Tisch.
Then go to NYU, and learn how to theatrically act, for as an animal or something. You know what I mean? So you look at it, and production seemed to be the best course of action for me, and that way I could learn lighting and audio and cameras and lenses and and how to direct, and it was ultimately the better choice. Now again, that was 2007, so there wasn't sophisticated learning tools on the internet like there are now. I mean,
Film Riot.
I wish Film Riot started right when I got out of college.
Film Riot? Dude.
Yeah.
What an incredible tool.
Yeah, well, it's Film Riot, Rocket Jump Film School. If you don't know Rocket Jump Film School, I don't think they're producing any more content for it, but it's Freddie W., and basically they just released a bunch of courses, just a bunch of crash courses on how stuff works. Hey, if you want to be a grip, this is what
Instagram Live.
Yeah, this is what a grip is. If you want to be a DP, this is what a DP does. If you want to be a first AD, this is what a first AD does. And it just a bunch of videos like that, and it's great. Peter McKinnon. He's fantastic. Casey Neistat. He's more technical than he is anything else.
Me and Frank were just talking about his video where he goes on the $32,000 flight.
Oh yeah, where he just got a Turkish airline private suite
Emirates
thing.
Fire.
Emirates.
Sick video.
Yeah, I was hoping so much that was just because we flew Emirates to the United Arab Emirates.
But you got that coach seat, boy.
I got a coach seat. But even still, that plane was nice as hell.
That's fire, right?
So the seats were a little bit nicer. The screens were great because you could like pop them out and like hold them, so like an iPad.
Whoa.
Which was great. And then obviously we're flying off.
Were you served salmon?
I forget what we were served. I got real sick on my flight back from China. Like, I also think I might have contracted something, but who knows?
How long ago is this trip, man?
This trip was long. So the difference between
Are you still contagious?
No, this was like years ago. The difference between the China trip and the Dubai trip was like a couple of months, right? And so I get home from China, which it was the longest Wednesday of my life. It was the longest Wednesday of my life. I woke up in China at like 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. I didn't get home back to Boston until like 11:30 p.m. local, and there's so many time changes that I actually spent like 36 hours in Wednesday. Like, that's how
you were in purgatory.
It was 36 hours in Wednesday. Like, I left at 6. I left at 6 o'clock in the morning. Then we flew to Seattle to go through customs and everything, and got to Seattle, and it was like 8 o'clock. And
these are during the Ichiro days.
Yeah, these are during the Ichiro days. He was batting, 480.
400 hits a season.
Yeah, 400,000 hits a season. But yeah, I just, on the flight, that leg, I ate something on that flight back from China, and yeah, it was brutal. But I gave it to my roommate. I gave it to my roommate, so I don't think it was actually the food that I contracted. I think I got avian bird flu.
Something airborne.
SARS, I don't know. One of those diseases that they warn you about.
SARS, jeez.
But
let me segue real brief. So, I want you to just I tried my best to do a little bit of WWE knowledge.
Cool.
I was a major WWE fan probably from 5th grade to 9th grade.
Yep, sounds about right.
As most fans are, right? I actually started a trampoline fighting league.
Of course you did.
I was consistently the champion.
Of course.
But these were actually like vicious fights. I would layer cinder blocks around the trampoline.
Right.
So like we would be playing for high stakes here. And I had a signature move called the flying mohilo, which was pretty much a flying drop kick. But yes, if you got hit with the flying mohilo and you ascended off the trampoline, your back would hit a cinder block. And
that's brutal.
And I loved every minute of it.
That's brutal.
But my last real contact with WWE was I had bought in WrestleMania for like $99.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
I'm sure it's cheaper now.
Way cheaper.
But it was the battle of light and dark with The Undertaker coming out in all black and Shawn Michaels coming down as an angel. Okay? And it was the most incredible match. It was awesome. Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Was it 25 maybe?
I can't remember which one it was because Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker fought back-to-back. And I want to say that's the second one, and it's his retirement match.
Yeah, it was.
And so those two matches are held as two of the best of all time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time that WrestleMania, in terms of the WWE brand, was very important because it was like kind of, they didn't really know the direction of it.
Yeah.
And then it bumped up. And I remember hearing after that, the WWE kind of lost touch with its core fan base.
Yeah.
With the whole social media boom.
Right. And yes, so social media has probably been the biggest thorn in the side of WWE. Vince McMahon, who has been the chairman of the board and owner of this company since its inception. Right?
And had creative control.
He's had creative control the entire time. So basically just a brief history for people that have no idea and are watching on Instagram.
Yeah,
it's
the Liam show.
Oh, look, here, I'm gonna wave. Oh, look at that. I'm going to wave to all those people.
Yes. I like that. This guy's assertive.
But basically, Worldwide Wrestling Federation was originally what it was called. It was owned by Vince McMahon Sr., and Vince bought it over. That was back in the territory days, so he was the New York territory. So it was New York and basically all of the Northeast. That was the kind of the home promotion for World
he bought
Wrestling
it out.
Federation. He basically then went around the country because there were just these small pockets of companies that had wrestlers and stuff, and he started picking people out, and that's what built the WWF roster. So he gets a TV deal. And that's how he ends up.
What channel?
I want to say it was on CBS. No. Yeah, CBS maybe. But basically it was like back in the day. It was like Saturday Night Superstars. And so it was once a month and all that stuff. So basically builds the WWF as you know it with Raw and WrestleMania and all the pay-per-views and everything like that.
And then the third program, which consistently changes. It was ECW when I was in middle school.
So that's a different program.
But they have ownership though, right?
They bought them out because it was WCW, ECW. Those were like the big companies.
NXT now?
NXT is their developmental. That's where all my friends wrestle. So
shout out to your friends.
Yeah, all my friends. Buddy of mine is wrestling. I don't know when this is going to drop, but he just wrestled at the Evolve 10th anniversary show against Tyler Breeze. So shout out.
Who's your friend?
So my buddy that's wrestling Tyler Breeze is Anthony Green. He's the retrosexual Anthony Green. His entire gimmick is that he's like an 80s sleazeball. It's amazing.
Like a Mick Foley?
No, like Rick Rude. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah.
Like Rick Rude, like a combination between Rick Rude and Val Venus.
Okay.
Like a little bit, and he's great. He's absolutely great. But yeah, so basically WWE has kind of always existed in this bubble, right? Because Vince McMahon surrounds himself with people. And he's lived and died by the TV ratings. And everybody tells him he's great. Everybody tells him he's very smart and fantastic at what he's doing. And now Twitter comes, and WWE leans into Twitter because they want to be socially conscious.
Progressive.
And progressive and kind of just evolve with the times. Well, it kind of backfires because the fans have rejected the product that they're seeing. And it all started in 2006.
It's too polished, right? That's the issue. It's like too polished, too PC. And the fans, for the most part, I mean, we're generalizing because it's a massive brand, but people want to see the crazy shit.
So, yeah, it's a little bit of that. So the real world implications were in 2008, I want to say, Chris Benoit murders his family and kills himself, right?
And this is going to sound really, really messed up, but did he kill his son with his signature move? Didn't he kill someone with the crippler crossface?
No, that's just an internet thing.
Okay, because I believe that for a long time.
Yeah. He murdered. Yeah, with the details. The only interesting thing about that is not, the sad part about a man with terrible CTE
and roid rage
and roid rage murdering his family and then killing himself is the hilarious conspiracy theory that's attached to it about a different wrestler that used to be married to his wife that actually murdered it. It's a whole thing. If you like
rabbit hole.
If you like conspiracy theories, it's very fascinating, but it doesn't have any weight. So basically, he does that. He does that unspeakable thing, and now sponsors are pulling out of WWE. So they have to make a radical shift in their programming because up until then, they made it what is my favorite period. Everybody wants to kind of point to the Attitude Era, the Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rock, Triple H, that era. DX, that sort of like Raw, Jerry Springer era. I always liked the Ruthless Aggression era, which was kind of around 2001, post-invasion.
And who was that the Rock? When the Rock
so that was like Triple H, John Cena, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle.
Was Vicky Guerrero in the league by this point?
No, she was not because she was just married to Eddie at the time. She doesn't get brought on until...
She was a great character, though.
Yeah, she doesn't get brought on until he dies, actually.
Who RKO'd? Didn't Randy Orton RKO her?
Yeah.
So do you know any wrestlers, Frank? Not really. Are you familiar with Randy Orton? The RKO.
Yeah, the out of nowhere. That was on the internet.
Is he still wrestling?
Yeah. Not as much, but he is. But
did he ever try to get into acting? Or?
Yeah, he's been in WWE films.
The Marine?
The Marine 7. Like behind enemy lines in Abagua.
Here's a good crossover between your worlds.
Yeah.
Name the best WWE movie with a WWE actor in it.
Easy. The Condemned, starring Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Did you actually enjoy it?
Oh, it's my favorite. It's my favorite of those movies.
What about Walking Tall with The Rock?
I hated that movie.
I loved it.
The Condemned has one of my favorite lines in all of movies, where Stone Cold Steve Austin is playing like an American CIA agent that's like got like disavowed like during a mission because something went wrong. So he's just like in a Mexican prison, and this guy is going around and finding all of these prisoners that he's going to put on an island, and they're going to fight to the death. Whoever is the last person standing,
Lord of the Flies
gets
type
to
style.
be freed. Hunger Games, Lord of the Flies, Battle Royale, that whole Fortnite nonsense. And so Stone Cold Steve Austin is like sent into this guy that he's scouting because they're like just feeding prisoners to this guy, and he's like murdering people. And Stone Cold Steve Austin kills this guy immediately, and they're like, "Oh my God, who's this guy?" And so they ask him, they go, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And Stone Cold Steve Austin, in the most Stone Cold Steve Austin way, is just like, "I was working on my tan." And he's just like, why'd you
ridiculous.
Why'd you blow up that building? Because it was blocking my sun. Well, so you have an American accent. Where are you from? He's like, "I'm from a little fishing village about 20 miles north of Juneau, Alaska. You might have heard of it, called Fuck Yo Mama." It was just
I bet him on set was ridiculous.
probably my favorite. I love the Broken Skull Ranch. Have you ever watched his show?
Oh yeah,
No.
it's like a.
It's like
kind of like the
redneck.
Rock's Titan games. So it's like
redneck
right?
Ninja Warrior.
Yeah,
It's what it is.
exactly.
And it's basically a bunch of people who think they're tough going and doing a bunch of like weird, like athletic tests of strength while Stone Cold Steve Austin just yells at you. It's the greatest.
I initially thought it was like a Biggest Loser type show.
Oh, no. No, Stone Cold Steve Austin just like, "Run up that hill. Get up there, pussy."
Yeah, and they're like dragging
Oh,
themselves
geez.
through mud.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, now you gotta jump in this moat and submerge yourself and like swim on the length of a football field. It's like, oh God,
He's
you got
awesome,
5
though.
seconds to do it. I'm like, what?
Here's another segue. How frequently are steroids, actually, how widely accepted are steroids accepted in the league? How widely accepted is steroid use in the WWE?
So, like anabolic steroids don't really.
HGH.
Yeah, it's mostly HGH and stuff like that. For the most part, the wrestlers have kind of slimmed down. You don't see it all that often.
That John Morrison, that Adonis body, boy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's like, you see people just kind of getting up there and using it. They're trying to get back from recovery because they're putting their body through a ton of shit, man. But at the same time, it's like, you're an actor in a play. I don't care what you're taking.
Yeah, I know. But there was this huge... I remember there was a John Cena interview where he was like, "So do you take steroids?" And someone cut up the clip of it, so it like they manipulated the clip. But he was like, "I can never tell you that you can never prove that I have taken them, and I'll never be able to tell you that I haven't taken them."
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
So everyone was like, "Wait, what, dude?"
yeah. But you look at it and it's like, yeah, you're clearly on like HGH and stuff. Like John Cena, he's a prime example. There was an injury that he had sustained, and it's like, you're going to be out for like 8 months. And then he was back at the Royal Rumble like 4 months later. And it's like,
Whoa.
yeah, man, like you're clearly like, one, either the injury wasn't as bad as you said it was, which again, it's a play. So,
or you were putting that deer tranquilizer in that system.
yeah, or you were just like deer antler fetus spray.
Oh yeah, that was a deer velvet spray.
Deer antler spray.
Deer antler spray.
You know.
Yeah. So what is the cognitive and metaphysical benefit of that?
I think it's just stem cells, so it helps with the healing process. So you put basically unassigned cells into an area that needs to like repair like a torn shoulder or something like that.
But why deer antler? Is there like a focus of like very regenerative cells?
I would imagine that's what they're not testing for. Right, like because that's what the NFL was doing at the time.
I think wasn't Ray Lewis doing
Ray
this,
Lewis took it, So, like I said, I think they weren't testing for that. They might have moved on to like elk blood or something. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't keep up with that.
I don't really think. I think the common consumer there was a period where people really cared about steroid use.
Yeah,
But I think now people are just like, let's just make sure sports are entertaining.
yeah. I think that there's It depends on the league. They cared about it in baseball, but that's because baseball is such a stat-driven league.
But dude, it was awesome when Barry Bonds was launching hundreds of home runs.
Yes,
season.
it was. It saved baseball.
It was sick.
Baseball went on strike and was dying before Sosa, McGuire, and Bonds all got like juiced up and was hitting dingers.
Rafael Palmeiro, Vlad Guerrero.
Yeah, Vladimir Guerrero
his
is my
son's a
favorite.
beast, or is his nephew?
Yeah, no, it's his son.
It's a beast.
Vladimir Guerrero is my favorite because that guy, like everybody, you watch Barry Bonds and he's got the gloves, he's got an elbow thing, and he's got the ankles, and like he looks like he's wearing a suit of armor. Vladimir Guerrero walked up there, no gloves, no nothing. That dude just walked up to the plate with a bat and was just like, "Let's do this."
Bomb.
You know, I liked him. I liked him a lot. But yeah, I think you look at steroids and it's like, yeah, baseball is stat driven, so that matters, right? Because if this guy's on juice and he's, and not everybody's on juice and he's socking all those dingers, then yeah, that affects the game. In football, it's like, whatever, man. Like you're going into a car wreck for 2 hours.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, take whatever you need to get right.
Okay. So, I want you to give me your top 5 favorite wrestling finishers.
Yep.
And I want you to semi-reenact them on this air dummy right here.
On the air dummy.
This invisible air dummy.
Air dummy. I can't do that. There's too many physical things.
So, if you were to give me 5 though.
I'll give you my 5 current just because I can't, all time.
You could do all time, right?
Yeah, maybe all time. Stone Cold Stunner. It's a classic.
Bam. That's
a classic. The Tombstone Pile Driver. The Flying Elbow from Macho Man Randy Savage.
Mm-hmm.
Always coming up over the top. I love the One-Winged Angel by Kenny Omega.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he is a current guy. He wrestles for AEW. And then Kazuchika Okada's Rainmaker. He is the current IWGP champion in Japan. Which they just announced last night that they're going to be doing a show up in Lowell. And so...
Oh, so you're going to be there.
I'm going to be there. Going to be there.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Can you ask me mine?
What are yours?
Okay. 1, we're going to go with the Walls of Jericho.
Oh, very fun.
Chris Jericho.
Very fun.
Is he still in the league?
Yeah, he wrestles for AEW now.
Okay, word. Then we're going to go with, obviously, the Swanton Bomb.
Yep.
Classic. Then the Sweet Chin Music.
Classic.
I believe this is the name of it, but was the Rey Mysterio the moonsault?
The 619?
The 619 was a moonsault, right?
Thing where he went in between the ropes?
Yeah, and then he did a backflip slam.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go with that. And then, obviously, the Kane choke slam.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Do you guys know Kane?
That was a good one. He's the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah.
We're entering an age, I feel, most people feel this isn't that profound of a point.
Oh, I'm going to treat it like it is.
Well, I think we're entering an age where celebrity is so valuable that I genuinely do think The Rock could win presidency.
Oh, you looked at it. That's already been proven by the current president.
Do you guys think The Rock could be president?
Yes. Strictly on the fact that it's...
You would vote for him for fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
dude,
popularity
people love
contest.
The Rock.
They do.
That was my co-star in a movie. Do you guys know that?
Central Intelligence?
Yes, sir. Were you in that too?
No, I was not.
You can see me for about 4 seconds.
Dope.
And I'm doing this.
Nice. That was good.
Big impact.
That was good. Huge.
He wasn't... The scene I was in, he actually wasn't there. But have you seen the movie?
Were you when he was the Fat Rock?
Exactly, yeah. Okay. So it was just this massive Samoan kid. They flew from Florida.
Yeah.
And so he was naked. So this whole time he had tape over his dick.
Yeah.
And you'd see his ass the whole day. And so they had him on this big bungee cords and they just threw him out onto a pad 100 times. And, and it's this massive scene with tons of extras. So there's just 1,000 people looking at this big naked kid just getting thrown onto a mat for 2 straight days.
Oh, that's brutal.
But it was a Boston casting gig.
Yeah.
Are you Boston casting?
Yeah, yeah. You kind of have to go through them. They've kind of bogarted.
Monopolized.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate.
I think that's one thing you were talking about during the mass cast is, so I would say at this point on an independent level, you're pretty well established in Boston.
Yeah.
Where do you think, and what do you think needs to happen for Boston to shift into more of an entertainment hub?
The biggest thing is that these, you know, you kind of mentioned it, they flew that kid up from Florida. Now, again, that is a very specific skill set, right? That kid is very large and very Samoan.
Typecasted,
and we don't have large Samoans here all that often in Boston. But you see it in a lot of these movies where there's The Departed or The Town or one of these movies that takes place here, is about here and all that stuff. And they constantly bring up people to play these bit parts. And, you know, it's inexcusable. Like, obviously, your first and second tier actors are going to be the A-list stars, right? And they're going to come from anywhere. Your Ben Affleck's, your Matt Damon's, your Mark Wahlberg's, your Leonardo DiCaprio's, right? Those are, you got to sell the movie to a global audience. Those people obviously need to be there. Duh, right? What I'm talking about is the guy that plays the cab driver that might be in one or two scenes. That guy is consistently casted out of New York or LA, and they're flown here. And it's just this insane, like, crazy thing where it's like, I'll go to New York or I'll go to LA in order to come back to Boston to film a movie. And it's like, that sounds absurd. And that's because our union here is just happy to be here, and they're not fighting for that, right? They're not actually fighting for those local actors. They're just happy that the movies are being made here because, you know, they want to tout, and you see it all the time. You know, I don't count, like, personally, and, you know, this differs from everybody, so, you know, don't take my word as dogma, but I don't count being an extra as being in a movie. You know, as somebody who has directed stuff, you know, you're a prop, right? You're a living prop.
How dare you?
I know. I just shattered all of Boston's extra community. You know,
and it is a thick community. For people who don't know, it's a very, and I don't want to, anyone who's getting into movies to totally get it, because I've been in a couple.
Right.
It is. You are very expendable as an extra.
Yeah.
There's nothing very special about you as an extra.
If
people think it's, oh, this would be sick. No, you are treated very much like nothing. Exactly.
You're cattle. And it's like, look, here's the thing. If you're getting into acting, they're great set experience. It's real on-set experience. So there is value to doing it.
And traditionally wildly boring.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful because
except sometimes that catered food, it's kind of hitting.
Oh, yeah. Remind me to tell you the story about the time I shared a pizza with the Fonz.
Oh, whoa. That seems like it's for another time, but that sounds crazy.
Yeah, but you know, just being there and being on set and walking back and forth isn't the same as constructing a character, being in a scene, like, you know, working with a director and blocking and, like, being in the whole thing. It's not necessarily the same. And you'll see these people, and I cringe every time. It's like, I've been in 40 movies. It's like, really, Carol? You've been in 40 movies? How many lines of dialogue have you had?
You've been student 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. Yeah. But you look at it.
And you played a tree.
Meg.
Fuck you, Meg.
But it's just, you know, yeah. So the Boston community keeps flirting, like, Boston keeps flirting with the film credit, right? And the government keeps going like, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to keep it. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to keep it. And that keeps starting and stopping the movies from coming here and the TV shows from coming here.
So we need consistency.
And so it just needs to be consistent. Like, just stop it. Stop messing around with it and just leave it alone or get rid of it. Like, pick one and just do it, because you're hurting this community. And so you're having a bunch of people that end up becoming big fishes in this small pond, and they all move on, right? And so you see them move to New York, you see them move to LA, and it's because the community hasn't been, you know, the community just hasn't been supportive. And by the community, I mean the local, you know, political government. Mm-hmm. And it's also, we already are behind the 8 ball, behind New York, LA, and Georgia, just because New York's New York, and they're going to film there no matter what, when, you know.
So you're saying, just to summarize, you're saying that if Massachusetts remains consistent with their film credit, that will help grow every facet of entertainment in Boston? Why?
Right. Because if there's consistent work here, then the people here will get hired.
Why do you think film is the medium for that above music and media?
So music is basically music is different because we do have a lot of historic venues here. They're not very large in terms of size.
I've thrown in a couple events and a couple of them.
You know, like, and so artists come out of here. Like, there is, you know, arguably the greatest rock band, American rock band, is from here. Aerosmith.
I was going to say
Godsmack.
I was going to say Boston. The band.
Boston? Yeah.
Or the Police?
No.
The Cars.
I don't know. I don't know about the Cars. But definitely Aerosmith.
Okay. Shout out to Mick Jagger.
That's Rolling Stones.
I knew that.
Yeah, of course. But there's great music that is coming out of here. There's music to you know, venues to play at, but music is also very much shareable. Like, you know, like we're in a studio right here, and you can kind of record basically anywhere now. You know, there's so many different setups and stuff, so the production of music isn't as hard.
But I mean, traditional feature film is also being digitalized too. Like,
that's true.
Think of like YouTube Premium and like Netflix.
Oh, there's so much opportunity, and on both sides, because it's so easy. I'm on Spotify, right? You know what I mean? Like,
it's awesome.
I'm on Spotify, so you can just get anything on Spotify, and that's a huge music sharing application that's how people are consuming their content. You know, SoundCloud is a great thing. You know, I can't 100% speak to music just because I'm not tapped into that world. But I think somebody at the Masscast said it, and I'll 100% agree with it, where it's like, yeah, we need you basically have the Middle East, which is a small venue, or you have the Garden, right? Which isn't a very large venue, but it's still a large venue, right? And there's not really anything in between. And
there's a Paradise Rock Club, but
yeah, the Paradise and the House of Blues are kind of places, like the Palladium out in Worcester.
You can't, to be honest with you though, I would love to throw an event at both of those venues soon. I'd love to do it. It's actually a goal of mine. But it's a tough jump locally.
Right.
You know.
Well, it's also tough because all the like signs and roads and everything need to just kind of all converge at once, because it's really tough. This city is so weird and diverse and in its population from season to season, because it's like, yeah, if you tried to throw an event for college kids in July, they're not here. So you're going to have a tougher time getting that audience to come somewhere, right? But at the same time, if you throw that in November, right, when the college kids are here, well, it's cold and it's, you know, potentially snowing, and they're not going to want to leave, right? So it's just there's weird. It's really tough to get people to come out to things anyway, and music is definitely on the harder end of that because there's so many options.
So I hate to cut this short, but we do have to leave this space.
Oh.
But hey, do you guys have any questions?
Okay.
I have a question.
All right.
Why are you such a great guy?
Oh, man, you're so sweet.
Sure, man. Okay, so listen, this is how I enjoyed myself a lot. I think we should do it
Thank
again.
you, so did I.
I think we both are pretty space brain, so I feel like this probably hit like more topics than a Kanye rant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Me and Frank, we're going to have trouble finding the clip for this one.
Oh, yeah.
But this is how we start and end the show. You say, hi, your name, and this is my golden hour.
Okay.
Directly after no break, hi, your name, and that was
my
golden hour.
Okay.
And we are in Phoenix Down recording, currently the most popping studio in Boston. In the description, you can book a session here.
Ooh, very fun. That's fun. I love being able to book things. So
like book it out of here.
Oh no, maybe
once this is over,
maybe,
and never talk to me again.
Oh yeah, ghosting.
Like my relatives.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling. Dad, I'm sorry.
Shout out to Eddie McCabe.
All right. So the golden hour.
Yes, sir.
I am Liam Stryker, and this is my golden hour. I am Eddie McCabe, and that was my golden hour.